All right, my Winter Soldier MCU movie review. Um, Real quick before I go into it, I will be talking about spoilers about the movie and the franchise probably. And I know I should have mentioned this like the first or second video, and not the 10th video. But I'm not going to be going through Easter eggs. I feel like that's pretty clear up to this point already. Like if you've seen the like all of the videos leading up to the 10th video, you're like, all right, he's not talking Easter eggs. But there is this really cool YouTube channel that does break down Easter eggs, and that is also rewatching all of the MCU movies in release order, not chronological order. I feel like watching them in release order is better, at least if for the first time. Not the point though. But where was I with this? Oh yeah, they do Easter egg videos, and they do like breakdowns and everything like that, and like they're really good, and like they're really interesting, and I really like them. It's called New Rockstars. If anybody wants to check them out, they do them like twice a week, like every I think beginning of the week and the end of the week. Really good. I think they're gonna do Ant-Man right now, so that's I don't even know. That's movie 12. Yeah. Anyways, quick story. So on Friday I saw Captain America: The Winter Soldier, and I don't like. Sometimes I have my phone on me, and like if I get a message, I don't see it, or like I do see it, but I don't reply back right away because watching the movie with my mom, and like sometimes her and I pause the movie and like her and I talk a bit. We talk about she like a few movies ago, she told me she doesn't like ask me questions during the movie because she doesn't want to pause it. And I told her, like, it's totally fine if you want to ask me a question during the movie. I can pause it. That's okay. I've already seen these movies a ton of times. I know them kind of by heart. So like, I told her it was okay for her to ask me a question during the movie. So like sometimes she'll ask me to pause it. I'll pause it. She'll ask me a question. I'll answer it. And like I'll explain some other stuff. And she'll be like, okay, cool, and then like, I'll ask her, how do you like the movie so far? Like, it's good, this and that. And, we go back to watching the movie. But Friday, my phone was like at a very low battery percentage. And so I left my phone in my room, in this room. And, the movie was over. And, I come to my room and I check my phone and I see that I have a missed call from one of my friends from, I've known him since middle school, sort of. But I had a missed call from one of my friends, and I was like, it's weird. I haven't spoken to him in like, I don't know, like weeks, months. And like, he never calls me. And I'm like, why did he call me? So I call him back, right? And I'm like, hey man, like, what's the deal? And off the bat, he's like, you didn't talk about your mom's reaction to Agent Coulson's death. And I was like, oh my God. I forgot. Completely forgot. So this is me going back to Avengers. That's like what, movies ago, and briefly talk about how her reaction to his death was, which I completely forgot. Wouldn't even have got back to it because of his phone call I did. I'm not gonna mention it by name because I didn't ask him if I could. And, right. Okay. So she really liked Agent Coulson. Not like too much. She wouldn't get excited whenever she saw it, but like she liked the dude, and like he was like a big Captain America fan. So my mom was like, "Oh, that's you," and so she like up to the point that he died, she knew that Loki can like create illusions, but obviously there's just no way of telling when he's doing an illusion and when he isn't, So in that scene where like Coulson has like that huge gun, and then Loki's right there with like his scepter, and he's like, "Whoa, like chill, bro." And it looks like he's about to shoot Loki, and then boom, he just gets stabbed out of nowhere. She was like, she kind of went like this, like, oh my God, can't believe he died. And that's all she did during the movie. Sorry, just drinking Dr. Pepper. So she just went like this, and like that's all she did during the movie. She didn't say anything or do anything, And at the end of the movie, I asked her, like, oh, what did you think? Like, how'd you feel about Agent Coulson dying? And I was like, oh, I thought it was sad, because, like, he was just trying to do his job, and he was a big fan of Captain America, and, like, he kind of, like, knew Iron Man, and, like, he met Thor, too, and, it's like that, like, that he really died. So that's pretty much it. There wasn't much to it. unfortunately. But she was pretty upset that he died and that like he was just doing his job and he like believed in heroes and stuff like that. So yeah, she was a little sad about his death. And just gonna sidetrack a little bit. For this movie, Bucky came back to life, and Nick Fury came back to life as well. And so she keeps getting mad, sort of. It's like you know, like next time someone dies, I'm just not gonna believe it because it seems like these people can never die. Like they die and they come back to life. And I'm not gonna tell her Agent Coulson comes back to life in a separate TV show that like takes place in the same world, but like currently doesn't, because that's too much, you know. Anyways, though, back to me, and then I'll go back to my mom in a bit. The movie was so cool. Captain America: The Winter Soldier was so cool. I won't lie to you guys. At first, like at 11 years old, well, because I saw the those god awful 1990 and 1979 Captain America movies, I thought Captain America was so lame. I would I thought he's just a guy with like a shield, you know, with a really complex frisbee. He's really good at ultimate frisbee, and that's all there is to him. And you know, I thought in the first Avenger and in Avengers, I thought Captain America was a bit cooler than the other movies, but like I thought he was cool. Obviously, not too cool, but I didn't like his suit in the Avengers. I did not like his suit at all. I thought it was lame. But hold on, sorry. Yeah, I felt like he didn't really bring that much to the table until like I saw Winter Soldier, and I really like got more focused into like the person who he is, or like that's what really makes him interesting. And so yeah, so the fight scenes in this movie were so awesome. They were just what when he's fighting with Batroc the Leaper, and like all those like jumps and kicks and like, was so cool. And I heard that they got like this really cool UFC fighter to play Batroc the Leaper, and like that was his one role. So I really like. I don't know who he is, and I don't know anything about UFC fighting, and I don't even know if he is a UFC fighter. I just know they got like some really good boxer or something, like that's like on TV, and they hired him just for this one role. Like he's like that was it. This is it. So I really like how Marvel went like they go the extra mile to like, you know, really pitch it, you know, to really sell this movie. So I thought that's, once again, I don't know. I should have looked into this. But I do like how they kind of go that extra mile to like make things even cooler, and like you can really tell that, you know, the fight scenes, like you can really tell like they're like a lot of thought went into them, and they feel really natural. They're quick, you know, they're like, for Captain America, it seems like it's on instinct, you know? Because I think in the first Avenger, he doesn't know how to fight. Because obviously he's like a scrawny little dude, and he gets superpowers. And like it's just, I feel like in the first Avenger, it's just him dealing with fighting with brute strength. That's his like main thing, and like, sorry again. And obviously he has like really good memory, so I'm pretty sure he probably saw like a few other people like fighting, and like he, you know, kind of copied them sort of. And yeah, so I feel like in the first Avenger he wasn't that great of a fighter, you know. And in Avengers, I feel like he didn't really focus on it too much, you know. They just kind of focused on more of his leadership skills, which is super cool, by the way. And in this Winter Soldier, there's a 2-year gap between Avengers and Winter Soldier, and obviously he's like a shield agent, so you can tell, you can't really tell, but like you can already like, you know, accept and imagine that within those 2 years, Captain America really dedicated his time to like being a really good fighter to make sure like he does his job right. And that's awesome. So yeah, the elevator scene was so cool. So awesome. I love watching the elevator scene. And then Endgame, when they made a callback to it, I was like, oh my god, we're going to see the elevator fight scene all over again. But they didn't do it. And I was like, okay, that's still pretty cool. Right. So this movie made me really, really like Captain America. Like all over again, you know? Because I used to really like Iron Man. just because of his suits of armor. Like I still think robots are cool, but I used to really think robots were awesome and like suits of armor and like flying and stuff like that. So I used to think that was really, really, really cool, cooler than what I do now. And you know, I guess around 2014, it's kind of growing up a bit. I don't know. I don't know what I don't know what it was in 2014 that I started looking into morals and like doing the right and wrong thing. I think I was confused with doing a lot of things in terms of, is this right? Is this wrong? I would question a lot of things, which would make me be like, is this right or wrong? And seeing Captain America, and he was like, this is right, and da 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 da, and I'm like, okay, I want to be like you when I grew up. And I just kind of, obviously, when you grew up, you know, my parents would like always tell me to do the right thing. That always kind of like lecture me, and I realized that the stuff that they would teach me was kind of the things that Captain America would do. That's when I realized, like, I really want to be like Captain America in terms of like morals, you know. And obviously, like, I related to him in terms of Skinny Steve. Oh, this guy's amazing. He's like built, you know. I don't relate to that, but I relate to Skinny Steve. That guy was bullied. So was I. And that he has power, he deliberately doesn't go like out of his way to hurt people. As a matter of fact, in the elevator scene, he asks the people if they want to get out. So Captain America kind of like goes out of his way to avoid violence. But if he cannot, then he knows how to take care of himself. So I kind of like Captain America for that reason, and the fact that like he is able to kind of put his life on the line to save somebody who wants to kill him. And I think that's kind of dumb, but it's also really respectable of him. It's kind of like, damn, that, you know, he knows where he stands, you know. And that's also, my mom said something about that as well, but I'll get into that in a bit. His relationship with Bucky. In the first Avenger, you didn't really see the relationship too much. Kind of like they didn't show a lot of it, but like you can already like they showed enough footage and like the right footage to make it seem like they were friends forever, which, you know, they were. And, you know, you can see, like, I don't know how to explain this right. I just put Bucky relationship, and, like, I don't know, you can tell he really cares about him, and how shocked he was, and just kind of, like, for a brief moment, he was kind of, like shooketh. He was shooketh. And it seemed like for a brief moment, he didn't know what to do. But, like, within that brief moment, he, like, after a few 2 seconds or something, he was like, all right, I know what to do. Save him at all costs, you know? And the Falcon, too. The Falcon was just kind of like... obviously, the Falcon and Steve are very different people in terms... Sorry. They're very similar, but they're very different people in terms of, like, life experience. So, the Falcon has never had anybody like a Bucky to him, you know? He's never had anybody like any of his old friends. Riley, I think that was his name. His, not co-pilot. His wingman. His wingman came back to life and, like, tried to kill him. I'm pretty sure maybe he would try to save him. But, no, yeah, it was nice kind of just seeing how Falcon was just kind of like, hey, like, you have to take him now. You know, you can't let him come after you. And then Captain America's like, no, I have to help him. You know, I must. I know I can. And then Falcon's like, all right, you know. And I thought that, oh my God, sorry. So I thought that was interesting and nice. And just kind of like how, obviously, Bucky and Sam are very different in terms of this movie. But later on, they're similar in terms of, like, they're his best friend. Could have sworn there were more similarities between the two. Like, they're both good people. And they were both Captain Americas in the comics. And I feel like it makes... I would have liked to see Bucky as Captain America. But it makes more sense for Sam to be Cap. But I'll get into that in Endgame, which is like 12 movies. Hydra. I was really upset when Hydra turned out to be S.H.I.E.L.D. And I was just heartbroken. Because I was, 14? So all throughout Phase 1, S.H.I.E.L.D. was made very clear. Iron Man 2, a brief mention in Incredible Hulk, definitely in Thor, and like at the very end of the first Avenger. And it was like a big, crucial plot point for the Avengers. And I was such a big fan of like S.H.I.E.L.D., Strategic Homeland Intervention Enforcement Logistics Division, that I was like, yeah, I'm a S.H.I.E.L.D. agent, this and that, I'm a S.H.I.E.L.D. agent. And then it turns out to be Hydra, and I'm like, oh man, I am not a S.H.I.E.L.D. agent anymore. I don't want to be a part of this. So I was pretty upset. Not gonna lie, cried a little bit. I think I cried a lot. No, I cried a little bit in a lot of these movies. I cried a lot in the Infinity War and Endgame. I think I cried more in Infinity War though. But for Endgame, I cried less amount of time, but within that amount of time, like I was really in my emotions. But I'll get into that later. Yeah, I was pretty upset because like no, like this is everything that like like Shield was created to protect the people from other threats, and for them to just be another threat to the people, who's going to protect these people from this super mega threat, the Avengers. But this is 2014, so I was clueless. So I was really upset, obviously, of course. And obviously there's a show called Agents of Shield, and at the time they were still very connected. At the time, right now I'm a little confused whether they are or aren't. It was kind of interesting seeing how in Agents of Shield, Hydra come out of the shadows, but they weren't that connected. The show kind of dealt with the aftermath, but that was it. It was like one episode, and that was it. I know for this one, it was like all of Shield is like Hydra and stuff like that, but they wouldn't really. It wouldn't feel that interconnected. It felt like the show was its own separate thing, and it sometimes felt like they were in a separate universe because sometimes they would deal with threats like, oh, this is going to be this is like the end of the world, you know. And I was like, well, then call the Avengers, you know. Hated that. But now Disney Plus is coming up with their own series that like you have to watch them in order to understand the movies, and you have to maybe watch the movies in order to understand the show. And I am so excited for that. That's exactly what I've always wanted, and I cannot wait. And that's about it. I'm going to talk about Mom now. Off the bat, she hates that these people keep coming back to life. She cannot handle it. She was really like, first she was shocked. Okay, I was watching the movie, and obviously, Cap like flips Bucky over and like takes off his mask, and like at the time I already knew what's going on, so I looked at my mom, I looked at her face, and then he like turns around and he's like, Bucky? And he's like, who the hell is Bucky? And she was just kind of like, and then she told me to pause, and she's like, who's Bucky? And I explained to her that Bucky was his best friend that died, and she was like, what? Like, how is he alive, And then she was like, but he's like a bad guy now, like, what's the deal? So she was pretty mad that he was still alive and that he's actively trying to kill Captain America. And she also feels bad for Captain America because his one and only friend from home is actively trying to kill him at this point in time. She's also mad about Fury's death. She was really upset when he died because she was like, damn, like he was a really good person, like he was the only one that like really wanted to help people in terms of like SHIELD. Sorry. And she was upset when he died, and she was like, oh man, like he was a mentor to like Black Widow, like it sucks, now she has to live on without him. And then he comes back again, and she's like, oh my god, she gets so like mad, upset. It's funny. It's pretty funny. Yeah, okay. Oh yeah, for Project Insight, the helicarriers, she told me it scared her because she was like, that's something the government's kind of doing right now. Like the government has access to all of our information. They just don't really, like talk about it that often because they don't want people to like, I don't know, they don't want to make them worry or something, So she was saying how like this movie was a lot different from all the other ones because it felt like not the most real in the sense where it was really grounded, but in the sense where it dealt with like a real life issue in terms of like, the government having access to everyone's information. And she thought that was like genuinely scary, and she was like, oh my god, like this is terrifying, and like thank god we have someone like Captain America to stop this from happening, which is funny because Captain America was first created in order to get people to obey whatever the government told them, and he became kind of like an anarchist. Not an anarchist, can't think of a word and don't know of a word, but it's not anarchist, it's the wrong word. And in terms of Captain America, I was talking to her about today. She told me that she really, really, really admires Captain America because he was willing to let his friend kill him in order to like try to rescue him. So she really likes Captain America a lot now. I know she likes him more now than what she did before. But she really likes Captain America because of that. She really respects him because of that. And I was like, that's, well, I'm like, I feel the same way about Captain America too. So it's so awesome. I really hope my mom's just saying this because she really means it and not because she just thinks I want to hear this, which I do. But I really hope she means it more than anything. Yeah, okay. She thought it was also nice that he got to see Peggy Carter, and she said it was funny. She's like, yeah, it's so funny, like, he got to see her, but she's, like, super old and wrinkly, and, like, forgetful. And I was like, is that funny, though? Like, it's not really funny. And, I know she said another thing. When I was talking, I thought about another thing that she said, but I forgot what it was. Oh, yeah. She thinks that, Bucky Barnes is going to regularly keep coming back to try to kill Captain America. And she was like, oh, but he's, like, by the end of the movie, he remembers, so maybe he'll know how to find him, or maybe he'll like change his mind. But like, it really seems like he's gonna come back and kill Captain America. And I was like, oh man, if only you knew. So yeah. So sorry. Yeah, I think that's about it. 20 minutes, 21 minutes. I apologize for making these too long. I know, because I like watching really long, lengthy videos when they have like information, evidence, like video essays. Video essays are so cool when they're like 30 to 40 minutes long, because I can just have it playing and I can like do something and I can listen to it, or I'll just like sit down and like watch a 40-minute video essay on a character study from like The Office or Parks and Rec, or I actually saw Leslie No Point. It was really interesting. I really liked it. Not the point though, but I feel like listening to 30 to 40 minutes of someone's thoughts on a movie and often getting sidetracked. I don't like listening to stuff like that. So I try to make these videos relatively short, as short as possible. I try not to go past 20 minutes, which I kind of just did. So I do apologize for that. If by any chance there is something I missed or something you want me to bring up, or any questions about Marvel or the timeline, I'm really good with the timeline stuff. I go all out when it comes to the timeline because I like timelines. I don't know why. I just do. But, yeah, that is all. We are hopefully going to watch Guardians of the Galaxy today. My mom says she's a little scared to watch that movie because it's a lot more fantasy-like. Because with these superhero movies, they're grounded on Earth. But in terms of Guardians of the Galaxy, you have a talking raccoon, a talking tree that only says 3 words, a guy from Earth who has taken to space that she doesn't know was on Earth, and 2 other aliens. So she's a bit worried about that one, and she's worried she won't be able to understand it. But I'm really excited for her to see that one because of the soundtrack, the music. So yeah, I have my own little awesome mix that I made, and I made such a hassle about making it to my mom. And I was like, yeah, like it's like, it has to be like really specific. It has to look like this, and that. She's like, why doesn't it have to look like this? Oh, it's from a movie, this and that. And yeah, so I wanted to see the soundtrack. Yeah, I'm gonna go now. Stay groovy, people.